many of our leaders have remained consistent during the scope of this coronavirus pandemic, but there is one exception to that: teachers' unions. No matter what else may change in the science, their position remains unchanging. We don't want to work at all. Keep paying us, we're not working. The president of the Fairfax County Teachers Union, that's one of the largest teachers unions in the world, is so committed to not working that she's called for teachers to stay home, even after they've been vaccinated for the coronavirus, which, by the way, they're almost certainly not going to get from the children they teach. Last night in Loudoun County, Virginia, one parent said what every other parent in this country has thought: this is insane. It's killing our children.
You're a bunch of cowards hiding behind our children as an excuse for keeping schools closed. You think you're some sort of martyrs because of the decisions you're making, when the statistics do not lie that the vast majority of the population is not at risk from this virus. The garbage workers who pick up my freaking trash risk their lives every day more than anyone in this school system. Figure it out or get off the podium, because you know what? There are people like me and a line of other people out there who will gladly take your seat and figure it out. It's not a high bar. Raise the freaking bar.
You can feel the emotion and you know where it comes from. That man and so many other parents have been home with their own kids for the better part of a year, watching their kids learn nothing, become even more addicted to screens, become totally isolated from other kids, watching them degrade and suffer. Why? So their teachers can avoid a virus that has virtually no effect on children they're not going to get from the kids they teach? It's criminal. It's totally wrong. In Clark County, Nevada, for example, a warning system that monitors students' mental health episodes has issued over 3,000 alerts to district officials about students' suicidal thoughts, possible self-harm, or cries for care. This clinical language for kids who are being crushed by this. A total of 18 students just in Clark County have killed themselves since the lockdowns began. But we're told that teachers' unions need to stay home. It's just too dangerous for them. What cowards they are. What's more important, their health or the health of the children they teach? Our children, our country's children. By the way, everyone else is going to work. Delivery men, grocery store workers, the people who bring you your sushi from Uber Eats. How many of these teachers are going to grocery stores, by the way? How many of them are going on vacation? All of them. We know that one executive of the teachers union in Chicago, a woman called Sarah Chambers, remember that name, was vacationing in the Caribbean last month and bragging about it on social media. How many teachers are doing that? That seems like a good question, but instead of answering that question, the Chicago's teachers union has decided to produce an interpretive dance video. This is totally real. It seems like right-wing propaganda, but it's totally real. This is the same union that voted to stay home in defiance of the city's reopening plan. Here's their message.
Make it make sense. Safety is essential. Keep our students and our teachers safe. Safe. It's our livelihood.
Joe Biden could fix this with a phone call. He could save kids in this country. Who goes to Chicago public schools? Rich kids? No, they go to Francis Parker. It's poor kids. And Joe Biden could save them, and we would praise him for doing that, because we're not partisan, actually. But no, they're doing the opposite. The Biden administration is praising the Chicago Teachers Union. Those teachers are the future of this country, Joe Biden tells us. They're not scientists, of course, they're not even good dancers, but they are huge donors to the Democratic Party. Joe Biden's not going to criticize them. In the last election cycle, teachers unions donated more than $4 million to Democratic Party candidates in Congress. They gave fewer than 50 grand to Republicans. Of course, I'll tell you this isn't about money, it's about science. But science, unlike the teachers unions, has changed quite a bit during this pandemic. Now science is telling us we need to wear 2 masks instead of just 1. In fact, experts on other networks suggest we might need to wear 3 masks just to be safe. Think of it like triple bagging your face. It's the only way to be safe.
So if you have a physical covering with 1 layer, you put another layer on, it just makes common sense that it likely would be more effective. And that's the reason why you see people either double masking or doing a version of an N95.
So double masking is now just common sense. Just common sense. How long are people going to put up with this? Follow the logic. Wouldn't it just be safer at this point for people just to stop breathing entirely? You wouldn't get COVID. You get the impression that's kind of where Tony Fauci may be a few months from now. Back in March, before he was allowed to appear on MSNBC's primetime shows, Tony Fauci wasn't just opposed to double masking. He was opposed to any masking, to masks, remember?
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
This guy's a malignant buffoon. He is. And the teachers' unions are actively hurting children. They are. Why are we listening to any of these people? Miranda Devine is a columnist with the New York Post. She joins us tonight. Why are we listening to these people? How much authority do they have left, would you say, Miranda?
Well, I'm sorry, but with Tony Fauci, I am not going to listen to a man who admitted that he lied to us about the efficacy of masks in the early time of the pandemic, when it might have made a difference, might have saved some lives. I'm not listening to someone who told us blithely to go off and catch a cruise in March during the pandemic, or in fact who argued vociferously with the president, then Trump, about stopping flights from Wuhan, China on January 31st. So he doesn't have any authority, moral or scientific, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not going to listen to him about double or triple masking. What he should be doing is he should be saying loud and clear to Joe Biden and the teacher unions that the number one psychological risk we have at the moment is to a generation of children, millions of children who are in misery at the moment. They're, as you said, committing suicide. They're in all sorts of trouble. And Tony Fauci should be telling us what the science is, because we know what the science is. It is that children do not pass on the virus to their teachers. In fact, they get less infected than their parents. They are not a risk. And these teachers are it is the only line of work where you can sit at home and not go to work and still get paid. It is pathological. That video you showed of those people prancing around, that's sociopathic to be doing that when children are committing suicide because they can't go to school, they're trapped. And we are just betraying their futures, throwing them away. And Joe Biden has this unique ability to connect with the teacher unions because he is the teacher union guy. He's the union guy. And he has the political capital at the moment because he's not Donald Trump. He just won an election. He could actually go to those unions who will listen to him because he does have that moral authority from his union background, and tell them that they should stop scaremongering, listen to the science that he tells us is so important, understand that they are not going to get sick from their students, and that they need to go back to work. And frankly, to be pretending that you're not going to go back to work until all the children are vaccinated, as well as all the teachers, is just a fraud, because we know that the vaccine is not approved yet for children, and children are not at risk. So go back to school now and look after the children that you are entrusted to look after, or otherwise just quit and let somebody else get in and do those jobs. I'm sure, you could get any person on the street could walk in and teach those kids better.
I honestly think if Trump had run on this, he would have won. Just my view. Because people care about their kids, and the kids are being really hurt. That's real. Miranda, I appreciate your coming on tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, there's a war going on between hedge funds